This is the Film Threat Review Show, and we are reviewing The Old Guard. Hi, I'm Alan Ng, a managing editor of Film Threat. I'm joined by Zorianna Kit. Hi, Zorianna.
Hello, how are you?
Good. All right, we're gonna review The Old Guard. A covert team of immortal mercenaries are suddenly exposed and now must fight to keep their identity a secret, just as an unexpected new member is discovered. This is on Netflix. Let's see. For one, my understanding, I'm a comic book guy, but I didn't realize that this was actually a comic book from Greg Rucka. Are you familiar with it at all, or is this your first?
I'm not familiar with the graphic novel, but and it doesn't really have that comic book type feel, because we are sort of used to a superhero comic book being like, you know, capes and shields and masks, and these guys are quite ordinary, to be honest. There's nothing superhero-y about them other than the fact that they're immortal. They just don't die.
Yeah, I do think that there's a comic book aspect to it, in the sense that I definitely felt like the story was broken up into mini chapters, so to speak. What I liked about the movie is that it didn't just follow the Charlize Theron character, but it followed everybody in their own personal stories and broke it up in a way that I think I could call it a comic book series.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go from here. Clearly, this is an origin story that sets up the graphic novel for future episodes, you want to call them, or future films. So the mission that they had here wasn't so much a traditional mission where like they're saving humanity, because we learned that's what they've done for thousands of years prior to this particular moment. Here, the threat is more to them as a group, where a pharmaceutical company wants to harvest their blood or do research on them to be able to figure out what makes them live so long and use it for monetary gain, which I thought was an interesting premise, because that is basically the conceit of the entire 2-hour film, is that it's a threat on them, and they have to save themselves more as opposed to them saving humanity, which I thought it was a nice twist.
Yeah, you mentioned it is an origin story, and I think with the amount of content Marvel is producing and DC is producing, we've gotten tired of origin stories. But I thought I loved this as the origin story. I think it was a well-told origin, where you slowly reveal who these people are. They bring in a new character, and so now you have this new character. This is KiKi Layne's character, where she has to figure out what's happened to her, and then how that works within the dynamic of this group. And then like you said, it does set up for a sequel. And
there's a lot of fight sequences here, which I think are done really, really well, because you've got the whole imagery of them coming back to life, almost like just like a pulse in a hospital, where all of a sudden they just gasp for breath, they come right back up again, like CPR from no one, and then they keep going. But we do get this sense that because they are old, hence the name Old Guard, is that they are tired, and they do have to question their own mortality, if it's coming, when will it come. And I really appreciated some of the more tender moments here that counterbalance the action, where they do talk about being immortal. Because for us, I mean, you look at all the things we do to stay immortal and young and youthful. It's a whole industry. No wonder this pharmaceutical company wanted to harvest them and figure out how to get it done, because that's what we're all into. But these guys really show us that immortality isn't what it's cracked up to be. They stay the same. Their loved ones grow up and die. So it's actually quite a lonely existence. And you actually feel that from them. There's a lot of sincerity in there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what science fiction does best, is it takes this idea of immortality and not only takes it to its extreme, but it blows it up in specific directions. The Quinn, who is revealed later, and her fate, you just feel it as she's like sent off to, I don't want to spoil too much about it, but you really feel her story, and you really feel the struggles these immortals have from living forever, and then I think we learn later about not to get into Charlize's character too much, but she's been doing it a very long time, and to counterbalance that with a brand new immortal. So let me ask you this: what was your favorite parts? What did you like about the Old Guard?
You know, what I appreciated a lot, and I wish there was a little bit more of, I really loved, and I wouldn't consider this a spoiler, but when they do show the historical aspects of that these characters, ageless, found themselves in, and how they affected history and their importance to the world. And that was told in pictures towards the end. And I wish I had seen more of that. I really wish that there was some type of reference of their past heroism that figured into the present, because the movie very much felt like it was a very present film. And you got to think, if these guys were around for thousands of years, they've been around longer than the iPhone has been around. So when they're using the iPhone, it would have been nice to get some type of reference of how they've seen technology change, how they've seen the world change, because they were around for all those big moments. And that's the only thing we really don't feel, is that they were around at these pivotal moments. They did change society, but it's not shown enough of. And I loved the historical aspect of it, and I wish there was more of that.
Yeah. I think for me, we haven't talked about it much, but the action is just really good. I describe it as a team of Wolverines. You know, you shoot them, they heal. You know, and I like how they broke it up too, that it wasn't just one style of action. You know, at the very end, it becomes, you know, this squad type based action where they have to infiltrate.
And it's coming out at a good time too, because think of last year at this time, pre-pandemic, theaters were overflowing with these action superhero films. By this time, calendar year 2019, we had the Avengers already. We had Hellboy. We had X-Men. We'd had Captain Marvel. We had Shazam. We had all these, with Spider-Man Far From Home. There was so much superhero fatigue by this time last year. And because of the pandemic and the theaters being shut down and the studios saving these big type of action films for some type of theatrical release, we haven't even really seen that type of film this season. And I think there is a type of hunger for that in audiences, because we're used to seeing that in the summer. So this movie really came along at the right time, and it's really, really enjoyable.
Okay, so I take it you recommend the Old Guard?
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
I do as well. So there's 2 recommendations for the Old Guard. I'm Alan Ng.
And I'm Zorianna Kit.